Welcome back. The power sector is a medley of a lot of issues, the most important of them being, of course, the stressed power assets and just a handful or maybe a couple of power companies healthy enough to buy the distressed assets. Just a week back, Resurgent Power, which is backed by Tata Power and ICICI, had put in a strong bid for Prayagraj Power. And the deal was almost done, but SBI took all the power companies, the stressed power companies, to the NCLT because other bankers hadn't agreed. Well, there are several issues to discuss, and we have someone who really knows the industry very well. Praveer, Sinha, Managing Director and CEO of Tata Power, joins us in the studios. Mr. Sinha, it's a pleasure having you with us, and thank you very much for dropping by in the studios.
Thank you, Lata, and it's a pleasure to be here on the show.
Okay, well, sir, first up, I mean, this came as a nasty jar. We thought at least Prayagraj and 4 or 5 others that SBI was hoping to salvage will be bought. But even Prayagraj has been taken to the NCLT. Does this delay Resurgent Power's buying? Does it stop it or ambush it in any way?
Let me take you through the process that how this has been done. RBI came with a circular in February, and as per that, 6 months was given to the banks to complete the transaction. And complete the transaction means that you need to complete the share purchase agreement and all the documentation, and all the lenders should be on board. We got the letter of intent on 27th when the 6 months period had ended.
Okay.
And as per the process, it should have been not only the letter of intent but also the documentation and the share purchase agreement. Since that could not get completed, the banks have taken this to the NCLT. But there is a proviso that once the documentation is completed and more than 90% of the lenders have agreed to the proposal, they can go back and take it and complete the documentation. So I don't think it's a showstopper to that extent. This, as far as we are concerned, it's a done deal. It will be required to go through the process of completing the due diligence and the share purchase agreement.
Is it 90% of the bankers or is it 90% of all creditors? And will that mean that some operational creditors can make it difficult?
It is 90% of the lenders.
Okay, so only the bankers are involved.
Yeah, only the bankers who are there, not the other operational or the capex creditors.
Okay. Mr. Sinha, good morning, and thank you for joining us once again. You know, there are some news reports suggesting that there is relief for the Mundra Power project. The fact that a high-powered committee has suggested a tariff structure for PPAs. I wanted to understand from you, any idea on when this committee recommendations are expected? Any idea on whether you can raise tariffs?
Well, the High Power Committee, which has been set up about 2 months back, has been doing huge amount of work in terms of interacting with the 5 procurer states as well as the developers and the other stakeholders, including the lenders and also the consumer groups. The purpose was to bring out a common understanding amongst all the stakeholders so that it becomes a win-win situation and a solution for everyone to accept. At present, the committee is still going through the report, is still finalizing the report, and we expect that in next maybe 2 weeks, the report should come out, and thereafter we will know exactly what is the recommendation of the committee.
So what about the under-recoveries currently at Mundra? Where does it stand at?
Well, last year our under-recovery was about 1,500 crores. And that's what we went to the committee and told them that it's becoming unsustainable. And since the cost of the power is one of the lowest amongst all the beneficiary states, it is in their interest that they come with a solution which takes care of their requirement, both in terms of merit order dispatch and in terms of the developer also being able to sustain their operations. So I think there is a common understanding and everyone is working towards finding a solution which does not adversely impact anyone to a very large extent.
What is the current PPA price and what would be a break-even price?
Right now the current PPA price is about 260. There's an under recovery of about 90 paisa. This is, of course, at present cost of coal, which is at the highest, it's about $107, and also the forex, which has gone up. But average price of coal is about $80 to $90, so it does not remain 90 paisa. It comes down to about 40 to 50 paisa.
Okay, so at least 3 rupees is where the break-even would lie. Okay, how many more plants can Resurgent buy if you are getting it at, basement prices?
Well, Resurgent has very many filters for taking any project. It looks at projects who have the latest state-of-the-art equipments, especially supercritical plants are the ones that it is looking at. It also looks at plants which have very, very attractive tariff. That means it should have a coal mine linked to it, or it has a linkage from Coal India. It should also have a PPA, a long-term PPA for a major quantity of the power that
so not buying too many?
So not too many that qualifies for our requirement. And we examine each one of them on the merit of the case and on the merit of the project. And if there is any other good proposal that comes our way, we'll definitely be looking at it.
But in that 30-odd list of plants that are going, assets that are going to NCLT or have gone because of the February circular, how many qualify? I mean, whether it's you or Adani or whoever or any of the PEs, they will have the same filters. So how many qualify in that list of 30?
I don't know what filters others have, but in our scheme of things, maybe 2-3 of them, not many.
Okay. You mentioned that the committee decision on Mundra will be taken in the next 2 weeks on the tariff issue. Realistically, by when do you think you could be able to, by when do you think the tariffs could go up?
I don't know what the recommendation of the committee is going to be. What we expect is that report will come in next 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time. And I'm sure that the purpose of the report, because of the large number of interactions have taken place with the beneficiary state, they would be buying from them. And if that happens and the recommendation is in line with whatever is the requirement of the beneficiary states, I think the solution should come very quickly.
Okay. What about other acquisitions? I mean, do you have any kind of war chest that you're looking at for acquisitions? How much money would you be looking to put in, say, over the next 2 years?
Well, that is one of the ways to grow. We are also having our internal plans to grow and organic growth, both in terms of renewable projects as well as some of the other initiatives that we are taking will happen. And we don't have a war chest, we don't have something like that. But if there is a good opportunity, if there is something that we feel meets our requirement in terms of the returns that we look at and is sustainable in the long run, we definitely look at all these projects in a very, very objective manner. We are fortunate that we get huge amount of support within the Tata Group to grow. And I think the appetite is huge within Tata Power to grow, especially in the new areas that we are working on.
Okay. Will Prayagraj require rebidding?
I don't think so, because
your LOI will stand.
Yeah. What we understand is that most of the banks have already approved. In some, the process is on, and they are expecting their board meetings to happen in next 1 week to 10 days time. And thereafter, they will also inform the consortium leader that this is the position.
We heard of 6,500 crore, right?
No, it's 6,000 crores.
Okay, 6,000 crores. Now, is that entirely a check you write to the banks, or is that part of it equity and some of it money that goes to banks?
What we look at these projects is what is the loan that it can sustain. So there is a process by which we determine that what is the sustainable debt the project can take care, so that it is in a position to pay back to the lenders. And that's again a detailing that is done in consultation with the lenders.
So what is the debt that you would be looking to take up? I mean, for going ahead, what kind of debt equity ratio are you comfortable with?
Normally, the debt equity for all power plants is 70-30. So that's the type of numbers that we look at.
Okay. I wanted to know about revenue itself. The last revenue growth is 5% for the first quarter, standalone. Now, does it improve? I mean, every day IEX keeps telling us that merchant power rates are high and 3.5 and 4 and such attractive numbers. Should we see second quarter or the rest of FY19 see a better revenue growth?
For Tata Power? Or
yes, for Tata Power.
For Tata Power, of course, we are going through huge amount of consolidation. We are deleveraging our balance sheet. And we are also focusing in terms of the new business opportunities in renewable and value-added services. So there is a huge push now that we are giving. The results, of course, will take some time. It will not happen in this quarter or in the next quarter. But over next 1 to 2 years, we'll find that there would be huge amount of improvement in the growth that we have seen. We also expect that the power cost will stabilize, whether again it is for renewable or it is for conventional power. It will stabilize. There is a huge demand and a pent-up demand which is there, and hopefully the distribution reforms that will happen in the country and the initiatives that has been taken by all the states under IPDS will start showing results in next 1 to 2 years. So there will be a demand growth in the country. The Saubhagya scheme, whereby the electrification is being done and supply is being given to all the people in the villages. I think all these will push up the demand, and there would be an opportunity for us to improve in terms of our growth.
I am also looking at some short-term numbers. There is rupee depreciation, which could be a cost, and there is, of course, higher finance cost now. The 10-year itself is at 8.15. So how do EBITDA margins? Your EBITDA margin improved a lot in the first quarter. You reported almost 35% margins. Will that be shaved off a bit because of these? Okay, these are below EBITDA costs. But do margins, operating margins, suffer?
See, most of our projects have domestic coal and they have long-term PPAs. So they are all regulated. So there is no great uneven growth that will happen on quarter-to-quarter basis. The only challenge that we have is in the Mundra project, where we have imported coal, and that is the only challenge that we have. If that is taken care in future, I think our growth will be more than steady.
Okay, Mr. Sinha, for country's point of view also, we hope that that's the case. Thanks a lot for joining us today. That's of course Tata Power. But what, we have to focus on market once again because it's turning very volatile. So we have our experts joining us once again, Ashwini Gujral, Mitesh Thakkar and Rajat Bose. Ashwini, all over the place in the first hour, your thoughts on whether a low for the day has been made?